All right. Good evening to all of you. I want to believe that we spend a very good day. And by His grace, we are here to continue to meditate on the living Word of God. And by His grace, our soul will have substance to function much better in harmony with God. This section will be a little bit different. We will think together and have some essence to give much sense and meaning to what we have been looking into yesterday, and prepare us for much better experience in life and for eternity. We are going to talk about the covenantal relationship with Christ for the marriage of the Lamb. Yesterday, we did mention the 7 guidelines that can help anyone to have a much healthy, much appropriate, godly way to have a marriage life that glorifies His name. Now, if we have the guideline, there is one important part of the guideline, which is the covenantal relationship. And in that guideline, we mention 3 things. We have to be satisfied, feel completed, and much more fulfilled. And this will make us very healthy to enter in a relationship with selfless mind. Because usually we are deficient, we are lacking many things, and unfortunately what we lack and we expect from the other person to bring it to complete us, the spouse to be is lacking the same thing. So you are lacking love, you're lacking happiness, joy, and peace. And you will hear people say, I'm going to get married, I will be very happy. And the man also looking for the same thing. So both are lacking the same thing and expecting it from each other, and none of them have it. And this is where the disappointment is coming from for many marriages. So to avoid that, or to prevent it from happening, we need a mind that will guide our discernment and also help us to see who is fit to fulfill the purpose of marriage, which is the marriage of the Lamb. And this will make a lot of things easier for us. It will remove a lot of confusion in the process of making the choice. I think it's a very important subject. If you are a young man, young women, I encourage you to take marriage life very seriously, because next to your salvation is the most important decision you're going to make. And if you miss that, you can have the best profession you want, your dream job. You can have everything you want. If you miss your marriage, oh no, you miss everything. You will daily regret your choice. Sometimes you cannot change anything. Children can be involved. You become tired of. And this can damage your brain, can damage your character, it can mess you up really bad. So I suggest to all the young people to make your marriage a priority over your career, your anything else. Of course, I'm saying right after your salvation, if your marriage is there, the next thing, the next important things, next most important things. And when you have a godly marriage, according to God's purpose, to fulfill God's purpose and vision, guess what? Your marriage will prepare you for your salvation, actually. So become one. So when we miss that, we miss everything in life. I encourage all the young, spend time on this, read on it, study, pray, ask for counsel, everything possible you can, and you are able to grasp about this subject. Make it a serious priority. Otherwise, all your effort in life will boil down to pain, regret, remorse, guilt, memory you do not want to keep in life. So, to prevent all of this, the only solution that I have finally come to conclude is developing a kind of relationship with Christ that will make an individual satisfied. It's a three word, don't forget. The number one is satisfied, completed, and fulfilled. And it's going to guide you into the marriage life. It will protect and preserve your heart. Because if you have a life that is fulfilled, a life that you are very satisfied with, then you can share that with somebody else. But if you are deficient, if you are lacking a whole lot of stuff, and the other person that come in doesn't have it either, we have problem. Now, more than this, I will insist a little bit on how this relationship with Christ will actually change our brain chemistry. It will rewire the way our mind function. It will mold our character. It will teach us how to handle any pressure in life. And it will give us peace and joy, true peace and true joy that nothing can take away. It's so precious. And I suggest that you pray that the Spirit of God can put this thing in your mind way much better than I am trying. Because for me personally, is the most precious thing we could have. I'm trying to see if I can find a much better word to express that. Much better word to express the importance of getting these things really clear. So let's go to the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 19 again, from verse 7 to 9. Lord, open our understanding in the name of Jesus Christ. It says, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready. Verse 8, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in a fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. Verse 9. And he says unto me, Write, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, These are the true saying of God. Now, if I ask you right now, what should be the relationship between two honest people before they get married? You might say engagement, and that is very correct. So if we are preparing to partake the marriage of the Lamb, which is the most important thing in the Christian life, the key for our salvation. So the relationship we need with Christ before the marriage is called engagement, and I can call it covenantal relationship. That means you have committed to each other. Now the good news in this whole thing is Christ has already proved his commitment. He has given us how much he loved us, and he proved it on the cross. He has revealed fully his selflessness. So we have no doubt about how much he loved us. Now, the next question will be, are we also engaged to him as he is engaged to us? And this is where the need of a serious commitment, engagement, a covenantal relationship is required so that we can be prepared for a very objective relationship with Christ. Otherwise, we are running into a whole lot of trouble, many problems. Now, Christ set a principle. He says that the wife is required, or the bride, to put on the white linen. And the white linen is the righteousness of the saints. And the righteousness means right doing. So that righteousness is a pure character, free from, okay, yeah, I will share that soon. Free from every defect of character. So before Christ married the church, you were going to be doing something for the church. Let's read it from Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 to 27. It says, let's read from 24. It said, therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives to be to their own husband in everything. 25. Husband, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, and he gave himself for it. 26. That he might sanctify it and cleanse it with the washing of the waters by the word. 27. That he might present it to himself, a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such things, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So the church of Revelation 19 that Christ will marry, that church that will partake the marriage of the Lamb, it must go through the cleansing of Christ, where Christ will remove all the spot, all the wrinkle, all the blemishes. They're going to present to himself a glorious church. So if I want to partake the marriage of the Lamb, Revelation 19, verse 7 to 9, I need to accept the process and the requirement. I need daily to let Christ cleanse me from all my spot, my defect of character, my rankles, my blemishes. Now, he is doing all of this for the marriage of the Lamb. And I accept him to cleanse me for that, because we are going to enter into a marriage life. But prior to that, we are engaged to each other for that purpose. So our whole Christian life converged into a loving, a deep loving covenantal relationship. Why this is important for us? When love becomes the principle of our life, not just for our belief system, our whole life, and is that selfless love of God, is going to heal us from every kind of trouble. It will heal us from selfishness, from poverty, from the confusion in family. It will protect our heart against hatred, unforgiveness, guilt, remorse, a lot of things we are carrying around. Now, the best part of the whole thing is that relationship we have with Christ will be molding us. It will make out of us the very version of God, God version of you. It's a process of a complete rewiring of your brain, of your character, of your behavior, and everything. And this played a role in every aspect of your life. When you become very selfless, you're going to be at peace with your enemies. You will let go when people offend you. And guess what? Who get a peace? You. You can sleep in peace. But if you cannot forgive, you can remember the last time you don't forgive someone, it was hard for you to sleep. Then you will be free from all of these things. When you make a mistake, you run to Christ, because he is always there that you can fall back on him. Always there to welcome you. Always available for you. So when we enter this kind of relationship, what do we see? We see not just a religious person going to church, expecting to win heaven at the end. Now we have a very functional, healthy, transformational relationship with Christ. You are no longer limited to your religious practices. Now you are in a very meaningful relationship. And when they start changing who you are, it starts framing and rewiring your mind to become 100% spiritual or selfless. And this is going to help you to develop new discernment. And slowly you will realize a lot of people that seem to be this quote unquote soulmate were never meant to be. And you will realize the values of your life will change. Your priority will change. Things that make you fulfilled and happy will change. Because when you set your affection on heavenly things and you feel satisfied with that, nobody can offer you that. If you can rejoice because your name is written in the book of life, no one can offer you that. So if the things that make you feel fulfilled, satisfied, complete, are not of this world, because in the world above this world, the world of God, the kingdom of God, ruled by the principle of selflessness, you are becoming a person that cannot afford to unite with any kind of person. Because the principle you operate by can only be in harmony with someone who has the same principle. And that prepare you to be a very good spouse for someone also who is prepared for it. So to become the right person you are looking for is only one way. It's in having a covenantal relationship with Christ. From that covenantal relationship, you will be molded, rewired, transformed. And you can only harmonize with somebody who has gone through the same process. Now you can easily discern who is fit to be one with you, to fulfill God's purpose and vision for marriage, which is the marriage of the Lamb. So both of you will be operating by the law of marriage, which is constant cleansing, removing the spot and the wrinkles so that you will be fit for the marriage of the Lamb. So both of you are married now. You're going to be growing in a character, going to grow in humility, patience, forgiveness, fear of God, everything. Many are married for 20 years, 30 years. The same defect they have in the first year, they still have them today. Very clear that the law of marriage, according to God, is not operating that hard at all. And that person is not preparing for any marriage of the Lamb at all. But they can celebrate 20 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage. But never, ever receive from God the true meaning and purpose of marriage. And that is the tragedy of life we are living. We are doing a lot of stuff the way it had been designed already before us, to the point where it becomes almost normal that we don't need to find out what is God's purpose and vision for marriage for us. So it's very crucial, extremely crucial, that we realize the importance of developing a very profound covenantal relationship with Christ. Is the only way by which you can have a healthy mind. You can become the person that is fit to be the right person. And this is going to be the journey that will lead you to be faithful. So you want to be faithful like the 3 Hebrew boys? Why? Because you are in a loving relationship with Christ. You want to obey God. Why? Because he says, if you love me, keep my commandment. That's what Christ says. You want to have a faith. Which faith? The faith that works by love. And you will realize even things that what move you to do anything is the love of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 14. That the love of God constrains us to do what is right. Let me check that so I don't give you the wrong verse. So slowly we realize that the very essence of our life is completely changed. It's no longer the same thing anymore. So it's the 2 Corinthians, not the first. 2 Corinthians 5, verse 14. So the love of God in our heart will constrain us in all our action. So it will be, we are going to be moved only by selfless motive, selfless principle. Our whole Christian life will become a relationship, not a religious form to follow. You will realize the law of God, the whole 10 Commandments, is encapsulated in just selfless love. Romans 13, verse 8 to 10. You will have in your soul a way of living that is not fit in this world. And when we allow God to mold our mind, to rewire everything by his selfless spirit, our faculties of the image of God, the Creator, will be very active. We will become very creative. We will be much available to receive and discern the instruction and revelation from God. God will speak to you. He will send you dreams that will be very clear for you. If you need vision, he will, because your mind can be in harmony with his mind. You can discern his voice. And you are living in another whole dimension of life. And the same selflessness will lead you in the way you interact with people. It will lead you in your productivity, how much productive you are. Let me give you an example. If you have a six-figure job, okay, very good paying job, you can pay all your bill very well. You can be satisfied with that, like, okay, I'm good. I can pay my bill, I can live. This is enough for me. But to some extent, it's not necessarily just it's not necessarily to be very content with what God gave you, but it can lead to selfishness. That I am satisfied with what I have, and that's it. What about you are satisfied with what you have, but now you want to be a blessing to multitude? This is not just for you anymore. This is for others. Okay, what you have is good for you. Now you're thinking about how can I be a blessing to my like human family and be for God's glory. Then you're gonna ask God to reveal something you can do according to your gift and talent, something you can do that will be a blessing to the whole human family. Slowly, you're going to realize that very thing that you design or you allow God to reveal to you, and they're going to help you to serve thousands of people. Guess what? Your productivity level will increase. If you have the gift of cooking, now you can transform that to become a very healthy cooking. And then you will have maybe a one restaurant and then develop a system of franchise, and then people start linking up with you, and it can just go wild all over the place. And you can call that restaurant Three Angel Restaurant, for example. And anyone that buy a food from there receives something to read on the Word of God. So through your business of a restaurant, guess what? The gospel will be spread everywhere. At the same time, people are getting healthier because you're offering healthier food. At the same time, they bless you with what we call money, paper, right? And then you can use that now back into the Word of God, and it become a very powerful machine. And all of this because selfless principle is implanted in your mind. Poverty is a result of selfishness. And I want to say I don't limit poverty to having less money or no. Poverty is a state of unproductivity. That's what created poverty. Through poverty, it's not somebody who's really lacking things, but somebody who's not productive enough, who is not using fully the image of God. You can sit on gold by being hungry, but I don't know how to process it. You can have everything, but lack the wisdom to express the image of God, to become creative with that. And this goes in every aspect of our life. So from that covenantal relationship with Christ, we have a meaningful Christian life. Our prayers are not going to be selfish anymore. Many of our prayers are very selfish. Look at your prayer list. Lord, give me, give me, give me, A, B, C, D. Give me, give me, give me. It's just about you. And most of the time, our motive of salvation is very selfish also. We are many, we just want to go to heaven. But we are not asking, Lord, what can I do for your glory? How my life can vindicate your character before the universe. We are much focused on, I just want to get to heaven. Christ, if Christ was focused to save his life, he will not go to the cross. So we see the life that is in him, it was selfless unto the cross. Look at Stephen. When that life was reproduced in Stephen, guess what? He's ready to give it up. Same thing in Moses. Moses said, Lord, if it's possible, take away my name from the book of life and save the people. So these things only happen to the soul when we are in a covenantal relationship with Christ, where our whole being is rewired. Something called neuroplasticity, plastic brain. Anything you are engaged into and you are doing it is going to create a neural pathway in your brain, create a new ability that will lead later on to behavior and character. Remember the first time you start learning to drive a car, right? You hold the wheel with all your strength, but now you can drive hand-free sometimes. Why? You have developed the ability of the habit of driving. So when we get in a relationship with Christ, where everything is built on selflessness, guess what? You start developing a pathway of selflessness in your mind, in your brain, and your brain will be fully rewired. So you will be uncomfortable when you're going to do something selfish. That means the law of selflessness is written on the very nerve of your brain, on the neuron of your brain. Are you hearing me, God people? And this make you become what? God version of you. And you cannot resonate with any kind of person. You cannot harmonize with any kind of person. This now gonna make you qualified to make the right choice of the partner for life. Because you are functioning according to God's purpose and vision for marriage. You are engaged to Christ in a covenantal relationship for the marriage of the Lamb, and that is the law of marriage. And you allow that to really have that impact on you. Guess what? You cannot harmonize with any kind of person anymore. That's how you really qualify or ready or capable to choose someone safely, someone you can harmonize with, you can function with to fulfill God's purpose for marriage. You will not make any mistake at all. But if you fail to go through this covenantal relationship with Christ, where you experience true selfless love, and your whole brain is rewired, your whole being is completely transformed. If you fail to experience that, it's guaranteed you are going to choose someone like you. You might call a soulmate, but both of you are missing the purpose of marriage. And that is the tragedy of many marriages today. Now they start fighting each other. Want to find out who is wrong, who is right. Both of you are wrong. So both of you need to go to Christ to rewire that brain to implant a new principle in their heart. You see, we have been so deceived that the deception becomes the normal life we live. And sometimes it's very hard to see beyond our limitation of selfishness. And when we take some example in the Bible, we can see very much clearly what we are talking about. Imagine Moses, the day he killed that Egyptian trying just to liberate, to free one Israelite. Imagine that he was married at that time to a woman that have the same temper. But both of them finally realized that this is not God's way. And individually, they accept to go through the process of divine remodeling, divine transformation, divine rewiring of the brain and the whole being. One day you can have both of them can say, Lord, remove my name from the book of life and save my spouse, save my enemy. At that time, Moses become what? God version of Moses. And if his wife went through the same process, she become what? God version of her also, right? That's why it's not too late for anybody who is already married. If you're already married, guess what? You can go through the same process. Yeah. Tonight, specifically for the young people, I want you to pray God that he can burn this thing down and down. I don't know, download this thing deep in you. It will be so installed in the hard drive of your soul. And this is going to be the governing power of your whole life. You obey your parent not because if you don't obey, they will refuse to give you some stuff. No, you obey because that is God's will. Because in your loving relationship with Christ, obedience to the parent is something that Christ takes pleasure to see happen. So you obey them because you love Christ. Get it? Because you are in a loving relationship with Christ. You are faithful in everything you do because you have a relationship with somebody, Christ. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be far away from the parents in another college. You're going to be faithful. You're going to be disciplined, doing everything. Not because you have somebody around you to question you, but because you have a principle implanted in your mind. Like the three Hebrew boys. You don't need a parent around. Teenagers. They are solid in principle, will not change. Like Joseph, will not change. And this is going to guide you in everything. When life allows you have some money you want to invest, you go to God to pray. You spend some time with Jesus. How do you want me to invest the money? It's going to prevent you from wrong investment. A lot of people on this line are suffering today. Why? Because they didn't consult God before they put a lot of money in some business and lose everything. That's how we are suffering. To get married, we choose somebody randomly. Good looking, ready, let's go. You want to invest money? You try it, you fail it. Everything we are doing is motivated by selfishness, and that brings all the pain we have. Why we are so sick? Because our mind is so selfish. It makes us toxic. We can't forgive people. We can't forgive ourselves. We are under the pressure of guilt and all of these things. We don't eat right. And all of that accumulates and become what? Disease. So financially, we are broke because of selfishness in the heart. Marriage failed because of selfishness. Health broken because of selfishness. Everything in our lives is broken because there's a wrong principle implanted in the mind that should not be there. So as a young person, if you understand these things and you allow God to establish this thing in you so much that you are renewed, I can guarantee a successful future to you tonight. I can guarantee to you that your future is 100% successful. Why? Because you are following the law of life and you will not fail. That anything else, sooner or later, will prove a failure. Are you hearing me? Take a time to study the principles of the life of Jesus. Go in a desire agent and praying. You want to get this so much. And when you get this thing right, guess what? Your life will be just a simple walking out of obedience. Everything becomes so simple. You're going to choose someone that can only harmonize with you. Someone who is already in a covenant relationship with Christ for the marriage of the Lamb. And your marriage life will be very harmonious, very simple. Your health. You want to preserve your health and present it to God, a healthy body and sound brain, so that He can reproduce His nature in you. He can fulfill His purpose and vision, which is to fill you up with His fullness and make you fit to sit in the throne with Him. Productivity, because you are functioning properly, guess what? You'll be very productive. You will see every single aspect of your life will be very successful. Young people, this is the key of life. You will not miss. If you enter in a covenantal relationship with Christ, it is the most precious thing you can offer to yourself, because it is the key for a very successful life. And this will make you a brand new person, God version of you. It will guide you to only resonate only with someone who went through the same process, that both of you can harmonize properly to fulfill God's purpose. A lot of mistake will be avoided, even prevented. So I want to believe that slowly I am making sense. And I will have another time where we're going to go through exactly how this thing functions, how literally we can really experience practically that covenantal relationship with Christ. I will make it to be a very complete separate presentation that will give you some tools that you can improve on. And by God's grace, you will see life very different. Allow Grace to share the screen for a few minutes, okay, please. So by His grace, we will live a life that is fit, that is harmonious, that is very purposeful, very covenantal, a life that is really meant to be according to God's will. So this is what we're going to look at next time. We're going to go through this step by step until it is something that makes sense to you. You can print it, put it in your mirror, whatever. You start developing and growing with that. And I promise you, you're going to become a brand new person. All your neurons, everything renew, rewire. The selflessness of God, that selfless love of God, that eternal love will be written on every fiber of your brain and your heart. And you cannot welcome anyone in your life except somebody who is or went through the same experience of transformation. That's how you are able to choose the right person as a partner for life. That's how you are able to live a proper, healthy Christian life. That's how you are able to prosper health-wise, financially, emotionally, spiritually. May the Lord bless you and keep you. We are going to stop here for this morning. And I'm going to take a few questions.